What's going on, metalheads? A few people just followed. Thank you, I appreciate that. And Brett Miller here with you once again. Gonna do something kind of fun today for a little bit. You know, high harmonic screams. How about that on the guitar? Because when it feels like the world's on fire sometimes, we can just play some metal. And so talking about today, how to do some cool whammy bar harmonic screams. All right, so these are things you'll hear often, like Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. A lot of guys, Exodus, okay, do. But a lot of times there's a bit of confusion about how to make that happen. So, gonna have a little bit of whammy bar fun. Probably time to change my strings anyway, so if we get some string breakage, so be it. There'll be some entertaining footage anyhow, right? So, talking about these types of things where if we find a really high, getting it to sound without picking it, those types of things. How to do those first, how to find them, we'll talk about, and then how to get that kind of from nowhere sound with the whammy bar. First of all, I have a Floyd Rose, okay, so this is the best way to do this. Floyd Rose, or a licensed, locking tremolo system, okay. We just get more play with that. So here's how this works. It's not really rocket science. It's just one of these things where it's like riding a bike, kind of like pinch harmonics, where you can learn to do the technique pretty easily, but it's just like you're going to do it, it's not going to work, it's not going to work, it's not going to work, and then bam, magically kind of starts happening. If you remember when you learned how to ride a bike, kept falling off, wham, all of a sudden you're balancing, you don't really know why that time you did. Very similar to this, whether it's pinch harmonics or what we're doing today. So, going through the mechanics here. First of all, let's talk about finding some really high harmonics on here. Because, as you're probably aware, and if you're not, then this will be something cool for you too. Natural harmonics, which are the ones that we get, again, not pinch harmonics, not ones where you hold and kind of do that, but ones that just naturally occur, are going to be the strongest on frets 12, 7, 5. If you don't know how to do those, you just very lightly touch the string. We don't press it down. And importantly, where you touch the string is right over the metal fret wire. You don't go in the fret like that and touch it. You go right over the metal, okay? The reason that we do this is, if you think about it, if you press the string down, I don't know if you ever thought about it this way, if you press the string down, the frets are there, the fret wire, I should say, is there. If you look closely, when you press a string down, that wire is actually what is against the string. Okay, it's not the wood of the fret. It's actually the metal fret wire that's actually making that contact. And so that's where the actual pitch is being produced. Okay, so when we touch the string lightly, we have to do so right over that metal piece, and it's always the one that's closest to the body of the guitar. Okay, so if I go to 12, I'm touching that string, G string, any of these are going to work. I'm just doing G string. You get a nice strong harmonic. Also on 7. And on 5, nice high one. So those are great, and as we do the mechanic of getting these harmonics from nowhere, these Dimebag Darrell style kind of things, those are cool to start with if this is a new technique for you, because you're much more likely to get a nice strong one, so we'll be doing that. Now that being said, those are not the highest sounding cool screamy ones on the guitar. And how do we find those? Well, you have to sort of fish around for them on the guitar neck. Now, not every guitar is exactly the same in terms of finding these, but the way we do it is the same. The harmonics are going to be found often in these sort of random, strange places. 2/3 in on this fret, a little bit of a 1/4 inch in on this fret. So a couple good places to look is if we go around 10th fret area. Okay, if you lightly touch the string, see, I'm just moving my finger very lightly. You may have heard this old kind of Van Halen sort of a idea where he takes his pinky, lightly goes like this, and just does hammer-ons really hard. That kind of a sound. Okay, we're getting all the little tiny harmonics coming off of the string there. And so they are hidden in a lot of random places, so this is sort of akin to that, where you just start out, move your finger very slowly, okay? Around the 10th fret, that's a good area, 9th, 10th fret. Super high one, that's cool. Same thing around 3rd fret, 2nd fret, you can find some really nice high ones. So the first thing is you just got to find them. And on your guitar, it might be slightly different areas, you know, but you'll find a couple good general areas that you can go after. So again, on my guitar, I'm now looking and I'm saying, oh, it's right past that metal fret wire. So that gives us a good place to start. So I'll probably use this one today, and then maybe this one up here, which for me is up around the 10th fret area. Again, right behind the metal. So you just got to get used to where these are found on your guitar. That's a cool one too. There's a lot of places. Okay. So listen, I've been playing guitar a very long time. These are still just fun to do. Okay, this is this #1 thing. Just very fun to do. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. First off, you just learn to find those. You want to have distortion on, of course, because that's going to give you the best chance of hearing these things. All right. I don't really have delay on here or anything. I have a little bit of reverb. That's about it. But a pretty chunky distortion sound. You want to go with your bridge position pickup. Okay, if we're just setting you up for success here, having the best chance of finding these. All right, because that's going to just bring out a little bit of the higher, you know, timbre of the string. All right, it's going to pick up those higher harmonic sounds a bit better for you. Okay, good. So you got your bridge pickup on. Got to make sure your volume's all the way up on your guitar. We got some decent distortion. All right, so here we go. The technique for doing sort of those high harmonic screams out of nowhere is you dip the bar way down. And by the way, I just use these 3 fingers, okay, since we're picking like this, of course. You got these 3 guys left over to push that bar down, okay, like that. And you got to use some force, okay? Can't be babying it. So what happens is we find the harmonic. I'm going to be easy on you here. We're going to use 7th fret to start because that's a nice, easy, strong harmonic to get. So if you're first doing this, I'd recommend that you really just use a nice strong one. Don't try and find one of those harder to find higher ones until you can do this technique. All right. So we're going to do this on the 7th fret. We don't pick it first. What we do is we're going to push the bar down so the string is very loose. As soon as we're done pressing that bar, we're going to use the first finger to flick the string. And often you're going to be flicking, you know, physically more than one string, because when these strings get very loose, it's not like you can just aim for the G string and not hit anything else, okay? Now this will sound pretty crappy as I do it slow, but I just want to show you guys how it works, okay? So I'm dipping the bar down very low. Strings are very slack. I'm now going to flick the string like that. That's the first step. Now all this is going to take place as you get better at it very quickly, almost as if it's one event happening. But at first, mechanically, yeah, we press it down. You then flick the string. Again, impossible to just hit one string. You're going to be flicking a bunch. Okay? As we start to release the bar and let the tension come back up, at that point, you are going to lightly touch that G string. Okay, again, I'll do this slowly. It won't sound so great slow, but here we go. Notice what happened there? Flick, touch. Flick, touch, as it starts to come up. If I do that fast, that's where you get that technique. I know it's hard to see it fast, so again, I'll do it slow a bunch of times. Dip, flick, touch. Dip, flick, touch, as you let the string come up. Now you might be saying, well, how come all the other strings aren't ringing out? I'm using my hand here to make sure I'm muting the lower strings, okay? So as it's coming up, if I don't do that, hear all that noise, that low stuff? We don't want that. I'm using this part of my hand here, across from the thumb meat, to stop those strings. So I'm being very aggressive there with the mute, okay? So those aren't gonna ring. Now, the other ones, the higher strings, so say I want my G string to be doing this, which is that, you know, that's the one we're doing. I'm using my finger, my first finger, to stop the E and the B. So this is just as an important part of this, the muting, as it is, you know, kind of the technique itself here. So this hand mutes the lower strings. This part of the finger mutes the higher strings. Therefore, if I go for that just G string sound, okay, that's all I'm getting there on the way up. Okay, so the muting is very important. So again, you don't want to look for perfection here the first time you're doing this. You're going to get some noise. It's about just the mechanics of it, as I said, like riding a bike. Okay, you fall off, you fall off, you fall off, boom, magically you're doing it. That's kind of how this works. So again, slow, dip the bar really loose, you know, so your strings get really loose. Flick the string, touch the string as you have the bar come back and the strings get back to their full tension. So dipping it, flicking it, touching. Let it come back up. Dip, flick, touch. Okay, fast. When you do it real fast, okay, rhythmically, if you want to do that on the string, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You have to learn to do this right before you want that to start, because you do have half a second of that, you know, before the actual pitch is going to sound. So if you do that on a beat, you can't start your press of the bar down right on the beat, because then you'll be off by, you know, half of a second. So as you get better at this too, you want to time it. Get a metronome going very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that you just get that note itself on the beat that you want. Okay, now we can try this on some of the higher sounding harmonics, which is kind of fun. That's so you get these really cool high ones. Again, I keep referencing Dimebag from Pantera. He was awesome at this. A lot of metal guys do this too. You know, Whammy Bar, when I use it, I do this sometimes, of course, in the solos, the high stuff, the crazy stuff. I love the Floyd Rose, frankly, just because of these little subtle kind of things too, okay? So majority of my use of the bar is probably that stuff. I mean, you can't be doing the screams every single time. It's going to get a little bit old. But this too, you ever do this? That's a fun one where you just flick the bar. I like to put it back like that. So anyway, back to the screams. That's why we're here today. So I'm going to find a nice high one. if you're just joining us, first step is just to find a very high harmonic here, okay? So, great one. There we go. Nice one. So there it was. There's that dip, flick, touch it on the way up there. Okay. Same thing here. There's a good one. Okay. Fun ones. Yeah, Steve Vai kind of does this stuff too. So a lot of the whammy bar acrobatics are noticeable in his music as well. Okay, so I mean, do need to change my strings. That's about it. I mean, this is fun. I kind of want to keep playing this just for myself because it's kind of fun here. So maybe I will. One last thing, pinch harmonics. I was mentioning that before. Those can be really good sources of nice high harmonics to use the whammy bar with. So if you happen to get a nice one, good opportunity to grab that bar. Okay, so you hear that a bit. All right, cool, that's enough. But that's the big deal. Dip, flick, touch the string, let it come up. All right, excellent.